you will, just allow me the next few moments today. I want to grab your attentions and hopefully hold your attentions just for a few moments, and I want to speak to you from this subject. Can anything good come out of Hazlehurst? Can anything good come out of Hazlehurst? Brothers and sisters, friends, and family, Hazlehurst was founded, according to one scholar, one source, in 1880 as a depot on the Macon-Brunswick Railroad. The community was named after railroad surveyor Colonel George Hazlehurst. It's said by another source that Hazlehurst is a city that has never had more than 5,000 residents. In fact, the last census suggested that there were only 4,226 people that reside in Hazlehurst, which means, Nacho, on any given Friday night in the fall, you can go to a football stadium across the state of Georgia and find more people packed in a high school football stadium than those that live in Hazlehurst. Hazlehurst is the county seat, but Jeff Davis is the county. And it was said by another source that the county was established in 1905, named after the only U.S. Confederate president in United States history, Jefferson Davis. But one thing that I like about Hazlehurst that I just found out is that Hazlehurst has a motto, and the motto states that whether you're just passing through, visiting for a day, or staying for a while, we welcome you to come linger longer with us in Hazlehurst. Hazlehurst, family, has its own prestige because no matter how small Hazlehurst is, no matter where you go, you will always find somebody that knows about Hazlehurst. Yeah, down in southeast Georgia, right outside Savannah, next to Waycross, there's always somebody that knows where Hazlehurst is. It has a level of prestige. It's prestigious. It's home. It's known for Chick King and known for Smith's Fried Chicken and Village Pizza and many other mom and pop one-stop shops. It's Hazlehurst. Hazlehurst is a city that if you know anything about the football team, if you go out on a Friday night, in fact, you can sit on your porch and see the smoke coming up from the concession stand on a Friday night. If the girls' basketball team is playing well and we got one boy that knows how to dunk, then the whole gym is packed when basketball games are being played. This is our city. It's Hazlehurst, the place that we love. We really don't need social media and flyers in Hazlehurst, because if you get a grill and take it to the park and tell two people before hours pass, it looks like we got a large family reunion gathering at the park. This is our city. Tell them, go to Mary Frazier, meet me there on the opposite side of the park, and you'll see how it packs out. We don't need social media and flowers. This is our city. This is Hazlehurst, the city that we love. Our city, our rules, the movement. If you're home, then you're wrong. This is Hazlehurst, the city that we have learned to love, that many of us have grown up in, but this same city with all of its perks, this small family-oriented city where everything that we love about it yet has its dark side. Because if you know anything about Hazlehurst, the statistics are crazy because it's 68% Caucasian American, 27% African American, and less than 1% of all other ethnicities, which means that one of the downsides of Hazlehurst is that we lack diversity. We have a 28% of those that are 65 and older that live alone with no medical attention. We got 29% of the mothers right here in this community that are single mothers. 44% of those of us that are 18 or older that are from Hazlehurst are not married. And if you go and look at statistics even farther, the average household income is $24,000 a year. And $24,000 a year with 4 residents in a house is poverty line. And if that means that, then that suggests that nearly 50% of the people that live in this city that we love so much, nearly 50% of the people that live in Hazlehurst are living in poverty. But yet, this is still the city that we look around and never seen a black sheriff. We've never seen a black mayor, never seen a black chief of police, never seen a black superintendent. This is the city that we love, but it has its downsides, because if you follow statistics, you'll find that we still live here, but we have 30%, less than 30% of the vote in the city, which is strange to why we've maybe never seen people in positions that we would like for them to be in, because we're not going out. This is the city that we say we love, but yet there are some downsides to it. And if you're not careful, if you're directly connected to Hazlehurst, if you live here, if you're indirectly connected to Hazlehurst, got there because you have family here, you may find yourself in a situation questioning, can anything good come out of Hazlehurst with all the downsides, with the economics being low, with the fact that in our area over the last 7 years there have been more people arrested in Hazlehurst than most of the cities around us, but yet we are one of the smallest cities in this 30-mile radius. If you think about those that are actively working citizens and residents in Hazlehurst, most of us have to travel outside of Hazlehurst just to get a decent job, because over the last 7 years economics have been down so low. So for all the perks that we have in this city, there's still a downside, and if you ask the right or wrong person, they may ask you, can anything good come out of Hazlehurst? But brothers and sisters, friends and family, I'm so glad to be here to tell you on today that there are some good things that come out of your city. I know that it doesn't look good all the time. I know that there are some negative things that people say, but let me help you pause for 1 second and let me say to every person that's from this city, don't you ever let anybody knock where you're from. You got to pick your head up, pick your pants up, young man. And some of these students, pick your grades up, and remember, not only do you have Dr. King in your blood, not only do you have Malcolm Shabazz in your blood, not only do you have Shirley Chisholm and Sojourner Truth in your blood, but can I help y'all real quick and maybe you'll get excited for me? You have all these national figures in your blood, but let me check you on this also. You have Dwayne Johnson in your blood. You have William Paris in your blood. Y'all not going to help me preach today, but I just preach to myself. You got Abby Carnegie in your blood. You got Mother Dotson in your blood. You got Bishop Fryer in your blood. You got Earl Harmon in your blood. You got many other people right here from your city that are in your blood. So I don't care what nobody says about your city, how they feel about your city, but you got to stand up with your head up. And every time, the next time somebody says something negative about the city that you're from, you make sure you put them in check and let them know if nobody else is good from this city, then you're looking at somebody that's good. You need to look at your neighbor right now and high five your neighbor and let your neighbor know, yes, something good can come out of Hazlehurst because you're looking at it, sitting right next to you. There are witnesses in this place on today that folks have hated on you, they've hated on your family, hated on your city, but you are a living testimony right now that you don't have to worry about what they say because you're not called by people, but the Bible says who God calls, God qualifies. Is there a witness up in this place on today? I'm going to go ahead and preach it the best way I know how. As we make our way toward the text, as we journey toward the text, it's quite interesting to me, Joe, that we can make a comparison between Nazareth and Hazlehurst. Nazareth, much like Hazlehurst, is a very small, at this time during the Palestinian era and the Roman Empire ruled, this place was very small. Nazareth was really small and rural and unattractive to many people. So it wasn't like a tourist spot. People didn't come to Nazareth to hang out, much like Hazlehurst. We're trying to get out of here. We're trying to go to Jekyll Island and ride down to Savannah when we want to go on vacation. We don't want a vacation here. And Nazareth, much like Hazlehurst, was very much the same. Nazareth, much like Hazlehurst, was a rocky area. It was known for the clay grounds that people will walk on. Don't that sound like when you ride out in the country, the clay dirt roads that you run around barefoot on? That was Nazareth. Nazareth was much like Hazlehurst. Nazareth was a place in which there were many young black mothers that were trying to make ends meet. And here it is. They weren't making ends meet the way that the church folk wanted them to, but nevertheless, they were making the ends meet. Sounds much like Hazlehurst to me. Nazareth is a place, if you can see it, it wasn't attractive. There wasn't much appealing about the place. It wasn't very impressive, but yet it seemed to cause issues with the other surrounding places because they were jealous of Nazareth. Doesn't that sound like Hazlehurst? We don't have a whole lot to offer. There's not much very impressive here. We don't even have a KFC, but yet for some reason people decide to hate on little old Hazlehurst. It's much like Nazareth. If you can see the picture, there's a straight comparison between the two. There's Nazareth and then there's Hazlehurst. They're much alike. And as we journey towards this text, it gets really interesting because if we can see Jesus Jesus now, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus is making a journey toward Galilee. And Jesus has been traveling along the boat in the water. In fact, Jesus has been traveling on a BMW, a boat made for water. And if you can see Jesus traveling on this BMW, he now makes it to Galilee. And if y'all can see this brother about 6'2", he's lean because he's been eating nothing but fish. He has long dreadlocks, purple lips, bloodshot eyes, and dark skin complexions. If you can see my Jesus, I don't know what your Jesus looked like, but that's what I see. If you can see this brother stepping out of his BMW, boat made for water, and he lands and places his foot in the sands of Galilee. And you know how it is when you walking with sandals on the beach and you get dirt between your toes. Can you see Jesus kicking the dirt from between his toes because he just landed in Galilee? And when he got out of his BMW, he had a little sand in his feet, so he kicks it out, and immediately he meets a fellow by the name of Philip. And he tells Philip 2 words, follow me. And Philip initially follows Jesus, goes with Jesus, travels with Jesus. In other words, Philip gets directly connected to Jesus. And after Philip gets connected to Jesus, Philip decides around verse 43 to 45, he says, well, I'm now connected to Jesus. I need to run and let somebody know the good news. So Philip goes and tells Nathaniel, I'm going to call him Nathan for the day. He goes and tells Nathan, he says, hey, look, I feel as if we have discovered and found the one that the Moses law was talking about. We have found the one that the old school prophets used to preach about. In other words, Phil told Nathan, I think we found the one. Isn't it interesting right here, if we pause for a moment, that you can see a brother that is just now following Jesus. He has taken it upon himself to go tell the good news. Let me pause right there for a second. Let me park on this curve. When you live in Hazlehurst, when you live around Hazlehurst, Peaches, there are 2 types of people that you might meet. You might meet some happies and some haters. What do you mean, Cray? Happies are those people that they always trying to find something to be happy about. Even when chaos is going on, they try to pinpoint the positive stuff. They try to find stuff that makes the city happy. They want to find the stuff that makes the city proud. Those are the happies. They always got a smile. And when they smile at you, you can depend on it because it's authentic. When they pat you on the back and tell you that they're proud, you can depend on it because it's authentic and genuine. But on the other side of the happies, you always got some haters. You got haters, and you got to understand who the haters are. The haters are the ones, every time you do something, you can do something grand, but they always got to find the one little thing that you can do right. You got haters. They're not easy to find because they disguise themselves very well. They're always in the crowd, and they may say one good thing just to say 5 negative things. You got to know who the haters are in your life. Does anybody in here, have you experienced some happiness but yet have to deal with some haters? And don't you know this right here? Let me share this with you. Haters will always try to remind you where you come from. They will never let you be who you are. They will always remind you, do you know when you used to? Do you know when you did? Do you know what you used to do? But let me share this with you. What you got to do with haters is remind them, as long as they're filled with negativity and hate, the only thing that's up on them is their blood pressure and their anxiety level. So the next time your haters get started and they hating on you and they talking and bringing up all the negativity, because I already know I messed up. I know I ain't got all my stuff together yet. I know that the Lord is still working on me. If that's your testimony, you don't got to tell me what I used to. I know what I used to do. Some of it I'm still doing. I know that testimony, I love God, and as long as I love God, I'm all right. But the Bible says that God looks beyond all my faults. And I'm so glad that God picked me up out of the world of my faith. That anybody's testimony today, you ain't got to hate on me. I know one day I watched Cray on Monday on Facebook Live, and I watched Transformation Tuesday on Facebook Live, and I go to church every now and again. So I know I'm still messed up, but I'm so glad that I'm not where I used to be. I'm just so much farther. Can I get somebody in here to shout with me today and say that's my testimony? I know I'm not where I want to be, but I'm so glad that I'm not where I used to be. All you need to know is I love Jesus, but I still remember how to curse. I love Jesus, but I still remember how to fight. I love Jesus, and every now and then I still got to take something wrong or something like that on the testament. Every now and then I have to let you know that I'm so much bigger than where I used to be, and you have to remind them, because if not, they'll remind you. I love Jesus, but if you push the follow him. And it's interesting because as Philip is following, Philip is excited to tell somebody about the good news of Jesus. And when he gets to Nathan, he says, I feel as if we have found the one. I feel like this is him. He says, Nathan, we're here. And then Nathan says, but where is he from? He says, well, this is Jesus of Nazareth. But here is Nathan's issue. Nathan says in the text in verse 46, Nazareth, can anything good come out of Nazareth? This blew my mind, family, because I'm trying to figure out, because biblical scholars have suggested that not only has Nathanael never seen Jesus, but Nathanael has never been to Nazareth. Okay, y'all ain't really ready for me today. Scholars suggest, and biblically we can see, that Nathanael has never seen Jesus. And he's never been to Nazareth. But yet he still has a strong opinion about Nazareth. He's never seen Jesus. He's never been to Nazareth. But yet he's rejecting the city. Okay, he's never seen Jesus. He's never been to Nazareth. But yet he's saying nothing good can come from that place. Wait a minute, Nathan, because I'm tripping. How? If you've never seen Jesus, do you know that Jesus don't work? Okay. How? If you've never been to Nazareth, that you can reject it so quickly. And the only thing that came clear to me is that somebody had to tell Nathan that Nazareth wasn't popping. Yeah. Some of you didn't clap there because my question for you is, what are you saying about the city when the city ain't listening? How can you say that Nazareth is not popping if you've never been to Nazareth? Because the issue is somebody around Nathan has been talking negative about Nazareth. Somebody has been talking down on the city. Let me say this. I know that you moved to Atlanta and you got your stuff together, but Negro, don't you ever forget that you came from Nathan. That you submitted now, you know how to drive down and ride up 85, but at the end of the day, your dirty feet was in the same dirt and Hazlehurst, Georgia. That's my people, but I know you went to college now, you know how to put your subject and your verb together and make them agree, but don't you ever forget that your grandmama was right here in Hazlehurst. Don't you ever forget that your father was right here. So I know you went to the military and you got all your stuff together, you learned how to salute and march, but when you first started marching was at all the way up to the trailer point. So don't you ever forget that you came from the city. And when something happens about the city, don't you talk about it. I know we only got 2 motels. I know they ain't the best motels in the world. But if you need a blanket, come to Grandmama House. We'll give you a blanket. If you need a place, come to Grandmama House. We'll give you a place. Don't you ever tell down for the city for other people that they can talk about your city. And let me ask y'all the question today. Can anything good come out of Hazlehurst? It's so amazing that folks get a little education, they get outside the city, then they don't ever want to come back. And now they wonder why our kids are so busy telling stories about past drug dealers and can't tell stories about those that went away and got stuff, because those that went away don't ever come back. And the only ones you see every day are the drug dealers at the park. So the ones that are left to tell the story are the ones at the park. But I need for every person in here that got a family member that's connected, that didn't come down to All-Star Weekend, you need to call them and give them some choice words. I'm not telling you what word to use. Tell them holy, happy, whatever you tell them. But make sure they know that next year, they need to be back here representing the city. How can you walk away from what your ancestors have laid? How can you walk away and turn your back on the city that loved you when ain't nobody know your name? How can you turn and walk away? There is an issue that's going on because Nathanael has never been to Nazareth, but yet he's hating on the city. Here it is, the text is interesting because as we journey through, there's a question that has been asked by Nathanael to Philip. Philip has brought the good news because Philip is excited to tell the good news. Philip is a Hurstown happy. He wants to give the encouraging, the inspirational. He wants people to be drawn to the city. But yet Nathaniel Paku, who's never been to the city, does not know anything about the city, does not know how hard it is to keep the gym working. He doesn't understand what it is to sit down and argue with people at a council meeting just to get one roll paid. He don't know what it takes to get a playground put in the park. Y'all ain't saying nothing, y'all acting funny. He don't know what it takes that you argue for 10 years to get a swimming pool that we still waiting on. He don't know what it takes to get the city going. There's a thing that's going on in Nazareth right now. You got the haters, but not enough happies. And I need some folks in here today that you agree with me today that despite all we've been through, we may fuss and fight with each other, but we got to remember family can fuss and fight as long as we make up before the night is over. You may talk about me, but talk about me to me. Don't talk about me to no one else because we are family, and I believe that God has orchestrated family, and if God orchestrated family, this scripture is not only for us but enough, but it says we're all put together, that no man is separated. So if this is your city, if you love your city, then let me know you're separated with God and turn together. There's a conflict of interest because Philip has just got saved, if you will. He just started following Jesus, but yet Nathaniel has never seen Jesus and is discrediting Jesus, has never been to Nazareth, but is shutting down Nazareth. And I love what Philip responds. And this is all you have to say to people. In verse 46, after Nathaniel pops the question to Philip, he says, Nazareth, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Hazlehurst, can anything good come out of Hazlehurst? And Philip says it just like this, come and see. I was in a church that really got excited. I don't know what you can tell people, how clean you can tell them. I don't know how you argue with people when they question the place that you come from. I don't know how you get over to them, but I can tell you this. The next time they ask you about your city and want to know about your city, ask you about the All-Star Weekend, ask you about the Living Legends Banquet, ask you about the movement, tell them come and see. The next time they want to know what's going on in the city, don't send them no text message, don't send them no Facebook message, tell them to come and see. Because the only way you're going to get over to some people, you got to show them or they'll never know. And can I say this real quick to some single folk in the room? Stop stressing yourself over a joke or a joke man because they don't understand who you are. The next time they talk about you and they don't come and connect with you the way you want to, tell them to keep working because the next time we'll see what they did not see. You got to go to the room. I gotta get ready to go. I'm just the whole point in the sermon fooling with y'all. I gotta get out of here. Y'all got me sweating over here. My voice about to go. I gotta hurry up and get out of here. I gotta share this story with you, and I'm gone. I promise I'm gone. I must have been 13 or 14 years old, Nacho. I was getting ready to go to 9th grade. I'll never forget this. I always hung out with older people. It was just something about me and older people. So me and one of my best childhood friends who is here, I don't want to point him out, but we used to hang out with these older guys. I think they're in the back cooking right now. I never knew them as the Fruit Twins until I got older. I just knew them as Don and John. I didn't even know their last name. I had to stay at that house about 3 times with Miss Gutsy May. I didn't know I know Miss Gutsy May could cook. I knew this was Don and John. I didn't know their last name, didn't know no Fruit Twins. All I knew is I hung around them. And I stayed in this little apartment complex. This is going to let you know that I'm really from the city. I grew up in Hammond Homes, and then at first I started over here at the schoolhouse, had an apartment there. Then we moved to Hammond Homes, and then we moved out to Hillcrest. I'm from the city. I'm from the city for real. So we lived in Hillcrest, and Hillcrest, there was a fence that divided the nice folk houses where Steve and them lived at, and then there was our apartments over here. So there was a fence that divided. But what I love about my friend Steven is there was a hole on his side of the fence that we could climb right through and go to his house. But nonetheless, we used to go to the one house that had African Americans in it. It was on the very end, and that was down at Larry Griggs' house. So we used to go down there and play all the time. Y'all see where I'm at. I'm from the city for real, for real. So I used to go down to Larry Griggs' house, and Don, John, and Corey Griggs were all older, and there was one other brother that was real muscular that used to be with them. His name was Rufus Carter. Rufus used to be with him. He was real bully. Like, before I even knew what bully was, he never touched you. He just stood there and just looked, and it made you nervous, especially if he was much shorter than Rufus. I was always afraid of Rufus. He could say one thing. He could tell me to go home. He's the only person that could make me go home. Mr. Larry couldn't make me go home. Them mom couldn't make me go home, but Rufus could make me go home. But one day, we're sitting out there, we're playing basketball barefooted in the dirt. We didn't have pavement courts out there. We had a dirt court. So we're playing basketball, and Corey blocking every shot. Rufus blocking every shot. Don and John, they're arguing over who's the best. And we're playing basketball, and they asked me, what do I want to do? Am I going to play sports when I get to high school? I said, yes, I'm going to play sports. I'm playing football. I'm going to college. I'm going to the NFL. And Rufus said something to me, and I need you to catch this, and we're going to shout, and we're going to get on out of here. Rufus said to me, he said, man, don't no scouts come to Hazlehurst. He said, nobody ever gets a scholarship from Hazlehurst. He said, you can't go anywhere from here. I'm 13 or 14 years old. I'm getting ready to go to the 9th grade. Shattered my dreams that I had from the 5th grade. Because if Rufus said it, okay, I got some people. It had to be legit. But that night, I promise I must have been 13 or 14. I never prayed so hard, even to this day as a preacher. I never prayed so hard that night that I went to my house. And I think for the first time that I clearly heard from God. And I think that God told me that night on my knees after I heard that story from Rufus that no scouts ever come to Hazlehurst. Nobody gets scholarship from Hazlehurst. You can never make it from Hazlehurst. That night I heard God clearly say to me that what other people didn't do from Hazlehurst don't mean you can't do from Hazlehurst. And I don't know if you're from today, but I just want to say to you that despite what other people may have failed at in this city, that don't mean that you got to fail at it in this city. I know life may not be looking the way you want it to look right now, but your dream is not over. Your aspiration is not over. Your vision is not clouded. You got to keep chasing after your dream. People may say you may not make it. People may say that they're possible way, but let me say this, there are some good things that come out of Hazlehurst. Now you about 5 or 6 people in this place out today that you're encouraged in this moment that despite what my life looks like now, I know I can make it from Hazlehurst. I gotta get out your way. I need to stand on your feet real quick.